Okay, functions and data analysis fans, our topic for today, notes, this is Unit 2, Section 1, central tendency, which is mean, median, mode, and range. And before we start, let me tell you your joke of the day. What did the tree say to the herbivore? And the answer is, leave me alone. Okay, so this is kind of a review of Algebra 1 concepts, and we're going to start our warm-up here. Fractions and decimals. It's important to be able to do some conversions without using the calculator. So in number 1, we want to match each fraction in this box here to the correct decimal, which is below. Okay, so 1/2 is the same thing as 0.5. And so we can draw a little line there and connect that. Anything that ends like 1/3, that's going to be a repeating decimal. That's going to be 0.3 repeating. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. So 2/3 would be 2 of those. So if you think about taking 2 times 0.33, that would be 0.66. So 2/3 is 0.6 repeating, 0.66. Now, 3 divided by 3, this is kind of a trick question because anything divided by itself is always equal to 1. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, and now the next set of values here, so from 1/4 to 4/4, now we're looking at 4 as the denominator. So 1/4, think of money. 1/4 is 25 cents. So that's 0.25. 1/4 is 0.25. So each time we go up here, 2/4 would be 0.25 times 2. It would be 2/4, which is 50 cents as money, or 0.5. 3/4 is 75 cents, which would be 0.75. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then the last section here, we have a denominator of 5. So 1 divided by 5, 1/5 is 0.2. And then each time now we're going to go up by 0.2. So if 1/5 is 0.2, 2/5 is 2 times 0.2, which is 0.4. And then go up by 0.2 again. 3/5 is 0.6. 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. And then 5 divided by 5 is again 1. Obviously we use the calculator quite a bit, but we want to be familiar and at least have an idea. If you're dividing by 2, you're going to be getting 0.5s as your decimal quite a bit. If you're dividing by 3, you're going to end up with repeating decimals, 0.33, 0.66. Quarters, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. Okay, so these are common decimals and fractions that you see. So we want to be able to use some mental math. Now, section 2 here, the mean. The mean is another word for average. And the way we calculate that is we take the sum of all the numbers, the sum of all, I'm going to put a number symbol there, so the sum of all the numbers, so you add them up, and we divide by the number of numbers. The number of numbers. Or you might think of it as the number of pieces of data. Pieces of data. How many numbers do you have? How much data do you have? Okay, so in number 2, find the mean of each set of numbers. So if we have 2 numbers, what we do is we add them. Sum means to add. So 6 plus 10, we divide by the number of numbers. Well, there are 2 of them. So that would be 16 divided by 2, and we get 8. So the mean is 8. 3, 7, and 8, well, we would add those up. We take the sum of the numbers. This time, since we have 3 numbers, we divide by 3. So this would be 18 divided by 3, which is 6. Now, the symbol for the mean is kind of a cursive looking, kind of a U shape right there. In statistics, that's the symbol for the mean. So if you write this as that equals 8, what we're talking about is the mean. Okay, the mean is equal to 6 right there. 8, 10, 6, and 3, well, we're going to add those up. This time we have 4 numbers, so we divide by 4. So we add these up, 18, 24, that is 27 divided by 4. Now you can do this in your head. How many times does 4 go into 27? Well, it's not perfect, but if I think about multiples of 4, I know that 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. So 4 goes into 27. It's 6 times, but that only gets me to 24. There's still 3 left over. So as a mixed number, it would actually be 6 3/4. If you wanted to write it like that, it would be 6, and then there would be 3 left over out of 4. But 3/4 is 0.75, so it's 6.75, and that would be the mean. That is the average of your numbers. Average, out of all the words that we talk about today for central tendency, average is most common because you use it for grades. You know, what is your average grade? Is it a 95? Is it an 82? The median is the middle number. Now, when we talk about middle number, we always have to arrange the numbers. We have to arrange or order them lowest to highest, smallest to biggest. We're always going to put the numbers in order. Okay, so number 3, find the median of each set of numbers. So we have part A, 12, 15, 18, 22, and 22. These are already in order. 12 is the smallest, 22 is the biggest. To find the number in the middle, what we can do is cross off the ends. So cross off the smallest and biggest. Now there are 3 left. So now I cross off the next smallest and biggest. In this case, we end up with 1 number left over, and that would be the median. So the median equals 18. So I usually abbreviate MED for median. The median is 18. That's the middle number. So let's say that these are not in order. Well, the first step is to put them in order. So I'm looking at this. The smallest number is 2. And I'm going to cross them off just so I don't accidentally write them again. And then 4. We have 7, 8, 9, 10. So 8, 9, 10, and the last number is 12. Okay, so we want the number in the middle. Cross off the ends, 2 and 12. Cross off the ends, 4 and 10, 7 and 9, and there's only 1 number left over. That's 8. The median is 8. Now the last example, 16, 14, 21, and 18. First step is to arrange or order the numbers lowest to highest, 14, 16, and then 18 and 21. Now in this case, when we cross off the ends, notice we have 2 numbers left. If you end up with 2 numbers left over, now I can't cross out 16 and 18 because then there's nothing left. If you end up with 2 numbers, what we do is we'll calculate the average of those 2. So that means that we're going to add those up, 16 plus 18, and divide by 2, because it's 2 numbers. So that adds up to 34, and 34 divided by 2 is 17. Something that you can do, so the median is 17. If you look at 16 and 18, think about what would be in between those. What would be the middle of those, the average of those? That would actually be 17. It doesn't always work out like that. It could be a decimal, but in this case we get 17. So the median does not have to be one of the numbers here. That's not always the case. All right, 2 more vocabulary words. Mode is the number repeated the most. Mode is most repeated. So as you look at this in part A, I'm sorry, one more thing. So the mode is the most repeated. The range is the biggest minus the smallest. Biggest minus smallest. How far apart are your numbers? From the smallest all the way to the biggest? That's what the range is. So in number 4, find the mode and range of each set of numbers. I'm going to put these in order, lowest to highest. So we have 1, 1. We have 3. We have 5, 5, 5. We have 3 5s. I have to write them each time. And 6, 6. Okay, so in this case, the mode is the number repeated the most. Well, we have 3 5s. So even though we do have 2 1s and 2 6s, those are not the mode. The mode is this one. So the mode is 5. The range would be the biggest number, which is 6, minus the smallest, which is 1. And 6 minus 1 is 5. And that's your answer for that. Let's say we'll do part B here, last one. So I'm going to put them in order again. 1, 2, 2 3s. We have 5, and then 8, 9. 5, 8, 9. The mode, it's possible if nothing gets repeated, there would be no mode. If you did have a number, or if you had 2 numbers that were repeated the same amount, you could have 2 modes. In this case, we have 2 3s, so the mode is equal to 3. The range is the biggest minus the smallest. The biggest number is 9 minus the smallest, which is 1. So the range is equal to 8. Now let's say we wanted to find the mean. Let's say we wanted the average. So we would do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8 plus 9 divided by 7. So if we want the mean, I'll do the symbol here. The mean equals 7 numbers. Now we would add these up. 9, 14, 22. This would be 31 divided by 7, which is actually going to be a decimal. 31 divided by 7 equals, okay, I'm going to write that, I'm going to round that to 4.43. I'll go to 2 places. So this 2 is the hundredths place, but because the next digit is 5 or higher, I'm going to round that to a 3. So the average is 4.43 there. If I wanted the mean, if I wanted to calculate the mean, then I could go through here. I'll use green this time. Here are the numbers in order. So to get the middle number, we'll cross off the ends. 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 5, and in this case, we get one number left over there in the middle. That's 3. So the median is equal to 3. All of these are called central tendency. Central tendency. It gives you a picture of what's happening with the numbers. The average tells you something, but it doesn't always give the whole picture. So if you also know what the middle number was, which is not necessarily the average, or if you know how spread out your numbers are, that tells you something about your data, or if there's a number that's repeated the most. So that's called central tendency. And that is the end of part 1 of the notes, and actually that is the end of the notes because we're going to do an activity on the back.